This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome to the May 3rd Commission on Disability meeting. We're being recorded, and this is our new home for now. We're making it up in the world from the basement. The only people that are missing.
Marty's missing and Stan.
Stan will not be here. We'll see the recording later.
Bobby.
Oh, Bobby is not a member.
Bobby isn't a member.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
No.
He's stepping back. He's visiting. He likes to check in. He misses everybody, but he's not. He's not going to be a voting member.
You can come back to the table.
Okay.
You don't know. It's up to you. Okay. All right. So, are either one of you here for public speak, or are you just here to hang out with us?
Just to see, just to listen.
Robert?
You had posted it on Facebook, and here I am.
I love it.
I'm reapplying to be a member, so I'm calling on it
Okay.
to see the work.
But you're not here for public speak?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming. So I just right away I wanted to get out of the way that we have a volunteer to be our secretary, so we have to vote Mary in. So I am nominated. Then we gotta second it. Who's second? Awesome. Who's in favor? Both hands up. Both hands up. Yes, passes. Fantastic. Okay, so we have Cindy from the Council on Aging here to tell us all about what's happening over there. So take it away.
Okay. Hi. Could we do introductions?
If you would like, sure.
That would be great. So I'm Cindy Terrell, and I started as the Council on Aging Director, which is a department level director job in October.
Okay, I'm Eli Damon, I'm the co-chair.
My name is Jenny.
Oh,
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
right.
Angelique, the chair.
Mary Morris.
And I'm Jeff Baggett, the city planner. I'm on the Commission on Disability as well.
I'm Jeff Brown. Work at Riverside, and I'm also Bryce and I are representing Riverside as members, and Jenny is visiting.
Okay.
Joanne Lucy, just visiting.
Robert Wild, I'm seeking to be a member and I'm visiting.
Molly Goodwin, kind of a recent member. Okay. Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me. That really helps. So, not knowing what this group wants to know about the senior center or how much you know, and actually it's called the Enrichment Center, but some people would rather it be called the Senior Center. So whatever you want to call it is fine with us. First of all, it serves people age 55 and up. In some communities, services targeted towards older people are also used by people who have different abilities, may have limited physical abilities or other abilities. So I'm not sure which of I'm pretty sure that almost all of our services are for people 55 and up, but some of them, for example, tax preparation may be for people, which is free, to have your taxes done once a year by the AARP. That may be for any adults. So I'll get back to you at some point on which of our services are clearly for any adult or family in the community. But just assume that, Mary, were you gonna say something? No. But just assume most of the services, if not all, are for people 55 and up, and that would include our transportation services. In some towns, transportation services are offered to more than seniors. So the services that we provide that impact people who may, for example, have limited physical mobility, transportation, which is very low cost. So $2, $3, or up to $5 a ride for medical appointments, buying food or prescriptions or other basic errands, and then sometimes things like a special hiking trip or some type of socializing or recreational activities, but actually not that much right now because we're really focused on the most basic needs. There's so much competition to get a ride. We also have 2 vehicles that wheelchairs can be in and that have motorized lifts so that if somebody has a walker, it's much easier for them to get in a vehicle when they can walk onto a lift than in our other vehicle, which doesn't, which is a regular transit type van with it's not an ADA compliant vehicle. I'm trying to get an ADA compliant minivan so that if we needed to take somebody further away, we'd have an energy efficient vehicle to do that in instead of hauling one of those big older vans we have on a longer trip. So that's just transportation is a very big piece of what we do. I would say of all the services we provide, that is probably the most popular and needed service up there with getting food and being a very affordable or free place for exercise and physical activity, preserving your range of motion. And I'll segue into talking about that. What we call fitness is really a whole bunch of activities for general wellness, keeping people moving, having people come together and be together with each other. And that includes the Healthy Bones and Balance class, which people of all abilities are participating in up to almost age 100. That's a fantastic class. Chair yoga and Tai Chi, a number of these programs, most of them, I would say, are very adaptable to people at any level of either fitness or physical ability. Let's see. A lot of people need us because they need some type of help with an application for health insurance, for fuel assistance, for other types of economic benefits. And we help with many of those applications either by phone or or in person. Some applications have to be done in person, and they were hard to do during the pandemic. But we're open, people can come in. The economic or financial needs of people in this community are huge when it comes to affording housing, food, fuel, and so on. Nothing new probably to most of, or if not all of you. There are a lot of problems coming to us lately that we feel, if not overwhelmed, it's so hard to help people with the calls we've been getting in the last few weeks. And we ourselves need to learn what should our next steps be with some of these calls, because the traditional places we send people to get more help, people say they're not getting help there. So for example, someone lives in affordable housing across the street and their rent has just been raised by $50 or $75 a month, and they're worried about how they'll stretch the money that they do have and they're in their early 60s, how are they going to make it through the rest of their life? So they need, they want to advocate around affordable housing. They want to learn financial planning, which is a service that we don't offer. We don't offer any financial counseling other than counseling around health insurance. We have other people who are on the younger side of things who are not working because they can't find work, and they feel that they're experiencing age discrimination on top of how hard it is to find work that allows you to afford housing and your other living expenses. And they want help with everything, including how to find another place to live if they're losing their current place to live. One person called this week and she can't do the job she always did, and she's losing her housing because the landlord is raising it $500 a month. So I think the issues that we're facing are intense. At the same time, people are coming to us wanting more opportunities to take trips places and socialize with each other and recreate, because that's a huge part of staying well and healthy and not being isolated. So I think we're more of a community center than a rec center. You know, we're very focused on both social service and on the recreational aspect. And the last thing I'll say is I'm still learning what older people in the city of Easthampton want, especially those who don't come to the senior center or only call once a year for help with a fuel assistance application. You know, I'm 55 years old. Do I go to my senior center in the town of Gil Montague? No. Yeah, her jaw's dropping. No, I don't have time to go. But
The reason why it's dropping.
okay.
It's your 55.
Okay. But the point is, I know many people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who say there's no way they would go to a senior center. Why? So we're asking the community, what do you want from a senior center? We're also asking the community, just come in and make your voices heard. If we are offering something that you love and you're worried it would go away if we tried to serve other needs, that's not necessarily the case. We cram everything we can into our space. So does anybody have any questions? And I don't know if I addressed what you wanted me to. I'll just say that.
Do you have a question, Jim?
I want. Go. School. I am. To sleep. I want. Go. School. Important.
Yeah.
School. I need. Woman. I want to go to school. Important. School. I need. Woman.
Yeah, so can I help explain? So, Jen, so you were talking about some of the problems that people in the pandemic world are having, with losing jobs and stuff like that. Jenny's relating to that. She has a job as a lunch monitor in Longmeadow, and it was supported by a job coach, and she will tell whoever will listen that they can't hire, and she hasn't been able to go back to her job, and she's kind of pissed about it because it's been months and months and they keep promising her. And, I had a question about the share yoga and events like that, are those 55 plus? Yes, okay. Okay, I know Riverside, a lot of what we do is we try to integrate with other community events, you know, and people of all abilities, and, you know, that would be, you know, I think there were some people that would really enjoy stuff at the senior center, but, you know, our groups tend to be age integrated, but don't necessarily have to be, but that would be something I would definitely bring back to the powers that be. What would it take for the senior center to have budget to help people with like applications and various things like food stamps and stuff like that? Like what's missing now that they can't provide that service to the community at large?
So, do you mean to all families, all households, as opposed
Well,
to simply
families that need
seniors?
fuel assistance
Yeah.
or something like that.
I think it may be that the fuel assistance, that applications that we do are for everyone, not just 55 and up. So I'll double check on that. I know they've told me and I've probably
Or
forgotten.
mass health. Or,
Because,
you don't-
the health insurance program Shine, serving, I can't remember what the whole acronym stands for. That's specifically around serving elders, especially around their Medicare, but mass health applications, I can look into that. I know that what we don't do right now is provide mass health application case management, which is where instead of just doing the application, you have somebody shepherding or overseeing that application to make sure it's taken to the plate and
Yeah.
everything is finished. That we aren't doing. Other kinds of benefits, counseling, or application assistance that people want to see us do, contact us and we will make a list of people's interests. So with food stamps or SNAP,
Yeah.
EBT,
Yeah.
we're the state group
Okay.
of councils on aging is asking councils on aging to become a SNAP site, and they may, it might be Department of Transitional Assistance
Yeah.
or Elder Affairs, one or the other is going to provide some help and maybe funding to become a site. We do hardly any food stamp applications because people go to other agencies to do that.
Yeah.
So if there's more need for us to do it, we're researching that right now, and then we could look at, can we do it for the whole, for all ages? I don't know.
What about the equipment program? The equipment.
Okay, we loan durable medical equipment. It's not the most current or new in quality. And I don't know if there's an age restriction on that program. I can find out. What we have is limited because of our space. So the sheriffs, the Hampshire sheriffs also loan out equipment similar to ours. If somebody needs something like, say, a bed, like a hospital bed, we don't have those and they don't, but the Franklin County Sheriff's Department does have space for those bigger items, or for like a chairlift to go upstairs. So, if anybody needs any of that equipment, let us know, and what's the best way for me to get back with answers to your questions?
Just to me, and I can
Okay.
send them out.
How long could someone, so a chairlift would be an example to get in, I'm assuming a ramp or something like that would also, does someone have like, you know, or if you needed a temporary ramp or something like that, or?
I don't know In my experience in the past, we would go to Stavros if a
Okay.
senior needed a ramp installed.
Okay.
So what we loan are things like transfer chairs, wheelchairs, shower benches, canes, rollators, and the like, and people can use them for as long as they need them.
Okay.
We don't worry about people returning them if they still need them. And we do not need donations of items except for wheelchairs. We do need more wheelchairs.
Okay.
And we also don't have wheelchairs that are made for people who are larger. They're very narrow, so we have had a problem with that. Yeah. Mary?
Quick question, you mentioned the low-cost transportation.
Yes.
Now, and we went the 1, 2, and possibly $5. Is that round trip or one way?
That's round trip. It's $2 to come to the senior center from within town. It's $3 for an in-town errand, and it's $4 to $5 to go out of Easthampton, depending on where you're going. Another note, we have volunteers taking people 55 and up to medical appointments. Mostly though, it is in their own cars, so it depends on, so they can take somebody with limited mobility in certain circumstances, but not all. So not all of them can deal with a wheelchair in their vehicle. One thing that is important to know is that people have to be able to navigate physically out of their home and out of their door. And then we can take them on the van and we can help them on and off our vans. But I'm investigating what would it take to become a door-through-door service versus door-to-door or curbside to curbside. Those are all different, how much we can physically help people. So imagine you get off our van and you have 3 grocery bags from going to the store and a walker. And you have to get in your house.
Oh, dear.
Right? It's tricky. So these are things I'm looking into, how we do it, how other places do it, how PVTA does it. And we're hoping to send our drivers to passenger assistance training class the next time that comes up locally. Any other questions?
What kind of volunteer things do people do?
Oh, volunteering, it was stopped during the pandemic and now it's open again. And so we take people to do customer service at the front desk. We take people to drive people to medical appointments, like I just said, to offer activities. Some of the activities you see are offered for free. Some of those positions are, you have to be trained for, like to become a Healthy Bones volunteer trainer. We also take volunteers to hand out meals outside in the parking lot. We used to take volunteers to visit people in their homes to provide companionship.
In-home visit. So if you wanted to visit an older person, who might not have a lot of family around to visit, sometimes people volunteer just to check in with older people to see how they're doing, keep them company.
Right.
You'd like doing stuff like that.
Yeah. So we stopped that because of the pandemic and we haven't restarted that yet. And then one last thing I just want you to know about volunteering. I'm, as the director, the volunteer coordinator, and so I can handle a certain number of volunteers under my watch, their applications, putting them in positions and supporting them in their positions, and then the other staff also help with that. But because we don't have a volunteer coordinator per se, it's limited, how good a job can we do helping volunteers do the best they can with the hours we have. So I want to be very careful because I don't want to put a volunteer in a situation where they don't have the support they need to do a good job. Being a volunteer is a real job, and we put our volunteers through their paces. Now, another volunteer thing you can do if you're any age is to join our advisory board or the Friends of the Council on Aging board. So anyway, if you have questions about volunteering though, don't hesitate to get in touch. And I don't want to forget the piece you brought up about age integrated services. Just because we don't have as many now, that it means that we could have some in the future, but we want to have the kind of space, staffing, and funds to make that work really well. So we'll take all the ideas we can get about offering our services in a way where seniors don't feel stigmatized by being the quote older people place, or if it is the older people place, it's a really nice place that they want to be in that younger people can visit and participate in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have a question. Can you try to explain if the relationship between your organization and Easthampton Neighbors?
Yes.
Is there a direct correlation or an indirect correlation? Because we have heard, questions in some of the services that Easthampton Neighbors provides often, unfortunately, fall out of, I think it's age based too. And so, just do you have a relationship with them, and can you just describe it, I guess?
So Easthampton Neighbors was partly created by people at the senior center. My former, the former director, Brendan, was one of the founders. So the relationship right now is that they would like to help people, especially the people we can't fit in to our transportation. They would like to take them to their medical appointments. So we try to, if someone calls and we can't help them, we try to send them Easthampton Neighbors way. Easthampton Neighbors currently, the last time I spoke with them a few weeks ago, they had volunteers who were willing, despite the pandemic, to help people and drive people places, but they actually weren't getting enough people who needed the help. And one of the barriers was that there was a perception that you had to have online access and know how to become a member of Easthampton Neighbors. The way you get help is to become a free member. But if you can't navigate the online application, you can call them directly and they'll sign you up. So anyway, we don't work that closely together other than to continue to communicate. If we had more space, they would like an office, and I would love to give them one. I just don't have the space right now. They're trying to get funding to have staffing and software so they can coordinate their volunteers. And we're in the same position where we have more staffing, obviously. But so I don't want to duplicate what they're doing. They don't want to duplicate necessarily what we're doing. And I'm trying to figure out how can we use both places to their best extent.
I just found out about that and did an online application. And what intrigued me was, I'm alone. They'll come and they'll help you flip your mattress or change a light bulb. Like on cathedral ceilings, and I'm like thinking, one of these days that's gonna go out and I can no longer get on a ladder. And it was like, oh my God, all I gotta do is call this place and someone will come and help me with a light bulb. Cause it's like overwhelming. All I need is a light bulb. I'm not gonna hire a handyman for a light bulb.
And that's so
So,
good
and
to
it was
hear.
like, that's
Yeah.
what was like, wow, what a service.
Yeah, that's
What a
very
relief.
good to hear because during the pandemic, they couldn't do those services, so I wasn't sure if they had brought that back.
They
Yeah.
have a website. I didn't go to a Facebook
Yeah.
page. I went to an actual website.
Yeah.
And it was like, how come I did not know about this? But it showed up on Facebook. So then I went to the website and then I filled out the application. But yeah, talk about filling a nice little gap there, you know?
Yes, yes, and they are so ready and willing to help. And I think they, their group needs support, more members, more people using their services, and then people helping with the fundraising aspects probably, but I don't know what they're doing right now for fundraising. But I don't know if that answers your question enough, Jeff.
It does.
Okay.
Do one last question.
Previously, when we had talked about Easthampton neighbors, there was some sort of barrier where they couldn't help folks with disabilities, and who weren't of the proper age bracket. And I'm wondering, was that just a perceived thing about capacity, or was that some sort of funding regulation, or?
All I know is that there's a national group called the Village to Village Movement, okay? Local communities, starting with, say, Northampton, picked up on that idea from them, almost took a template from the national group, right?
Yeah.
Took it to local towns and cities here. So they imported the idea that it was for older people. I don't know if any of the networks, which is what these are, in other parts of the US serve people who have various abilities of various ages or not. That would be something to look into.
I already know the answer.
And you know the answer.
Okay. Well, I was wondering if anything changed, considering they don't have enough people that need help,
That's not necessarily the case. They don't have enough people to help the people that need help, so they can't even go to the disabled community. Because they don't even have enough to help the 55 plus.
The issue about needing more people was specifically about people who needed medical rides. That was really the issue, and that we're trying to fix because the problem was, so an older person would call us, we would say try Easthampton Neighbors, but they weren't a member, so they couldn't get a ride, number one, and number two, they have a Google Voice message, and people I think would give up on trying to get through. They thought it was like us, you can get a ride in 48 hours or so, but there you really do need to give them a week or so to put a ride together. So it was a mismatch of expectations. Right. So that was a separate issue, but
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Especially
you.
last minute notice. I appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. And really, I mean, if there's places where people who are struggling with disability issues and older people come together, which is probably almost everything, we're happy to talk more. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Marty, do you
Anytime.
want to stay back there? Or are you coming to the table? You're good? Okay. So we have to do the minutes approval. Are we good with the minutes? Can we have somebody,
Motion to approve.
there you go. Look at you. Everybody's okay with the minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so I think we have, just to remind people, I think we have 4 spots, and then Robert said that he was gonna reapply, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Fantastic.
So does that mean we now have 3 spots?
I mean, he has to we can't say that until he's
Oh.
approved, but
There's 4 and we're hoping Robert?
Right.
Or there's 3 and we're hoping
No, 4. And we're-
Four, okay, so we'll still have 3 to probably.
So we currently have 8 members, right?
9.
Oh,
And we can have 13.
okay.
We only have
I thought it was 8.
8.
Is Stan still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
No, 9. We have 9.
Okay.
So we need 4 open because we need an odd number.
Okay, so, under, new business, we had a request for new business.
That was big.
Okay,
Um,
what do you wanna talk about?
One of the things, well, there's one major thing I want to speak about, and Cynthia had mentioned it to me the other day, and then someone at Treehouse mentioned it. The markings on the crosswalks. Okay, specifically, there is a crosswalk from the senior center to Walgreens. If anyone drives down the street, you cannot, I mean, I had to really stretch my eyes to see it. That needs to be marked. And the other one that was brought up was the one at the bank in the Rotary,
Do you mean repainted?
repainted. The one, and I think both of those would be great to have some type of, especially in front of the senior center, something, flashing, something. But right now, the spot, Route 10 and Main Street, right there at that spot, that whole crosswalk you can't see, and the one over here on Union in front of Walgreens in the senior center isn't visible either. People are trying to cross. I saw the president of the Friends trying to cross from the senior center to Walgreens the other day, and I mean, she really couldn't. They're both, bad spots, and I'm sure there's other ones in the city that I'm not aware of, but those two were brought to my attention.
I mean, so it's really something that falls under DPW, but just something to support your concern is before I started in this position, I live in town. I grew up in Easthampton, but I left for a little while, I came back, but we live in town, and when the first cultural chaos was happening, so it was 2015, I remember it was about this time of year, and I complained about all the crosswalks and it was more that there were going to be all these people coming to Easthampton and the crosswalks were unpainted. And unfortunately, what I was told then, and I think it is the same answer, is that they don't paint until like late May or early June. The pavement and the air temperature has to be a certain temperature to repaint, and so they wait until June every year to repaint the crosswalks, which is really unfortunate.
Do they do it once a year?
That's my understanding, is
Okay.
they'll go through and they'll do it once a year. The good news is that Union Street crossings will all be repaired and upgraded when
Right.
that project starts, and so that's still late summer or fall. The Union Street crosswalks will be upgraded, and then city overall in the big picture is looking at Main Street, but at a minimum that crosswalk will get painted soon.
Okay.
So that's the best I can offer for
Yeah, so
general
I'm just-
information.
As I say, I'm sure there's others, but those two
Yeah,
were
I agree.
specifically brought to my attention. When I'm trying to say we have open spots, that's when they come up with, oh, well, how about this?
Yes.
Right.
Mary, have you personally had trouble crossing the street in those places?
No,
Okay,
no, I have not.
because I'd really like to actually see what happens when people try to cross it and can't cross, and I've never actually seen that.
I mean, if you're coming down, all right, is it Lake Street that Williston is on? That runs parallel here? Park Street.
Park Street.
Park Street. Those sidewalks, you get towards Williston, those sidewalks are painted perfectly. Everybody knows to stop. But when you're coming along other streets, if you can't see a crosswalk, and as I say, if you go up by Walgreens, it's pretty well faded completely.
People
Right.
drive fast.
And they're
over
not
there,
gonna
too.
see them. And their people are coming out from between cars too.
Yeah, they are.
My quick advice for anybody who encounters something like that is to, at a minimum, call or email the DPW, because I think that they, as we look at more and more of these types of things, the more it's unfortunate, but there is some benefit of saying something to the DPW, they will keep track of that. And I think it's important to have those kind of complaints identified, with reasonable, so identifying them without chastising them. It's often something that's out of their direct ability to change, but logging that I think is really
Just
important.
have
I
it
think
logged.
it's the unique thing about where we are with social media and Facebook is, that will only get you so far. So, we try to encourage people to actually, and sometimes it's the hardest part of figuring out who to send the message to, but it is important to send the message to the city, whether it's DPW or planning department or the mayor, but, just try to encourage people to not skip that step, because just, it has to kind of get to those people.
So in other words, go back to the old way before social media.
Right. Or do both, maybe.
Does that cover it? Is there?
Yeah, that was really all I had for that.
Okay. The hybrid meetings, I spoke with the mayor. She hears us. She's gonna look into it. Like Lindsay had said, like it would take a training. I said I would do the training. I just think things are on hold because there's some sort of decision, like they said, in July. I know that Stan has a bunch of questions, and the mayor has offered to meet with me, Stan, and Lindsay to go over those questions that he has, because he has a lot of information about different technology and things like that. So that has to be set up. So I apologize for those people that really want to be at home and they feel safer. I appreciate you coming. Let's see what else. There's nothing else in the PSA, correct? Right. We're just waiting.
I think the goal will be to have a draft of it by July. So
Got it.
to get help with that and get it. So July would be the goal.
Okay. We did not meet as a surveys subcommittee. I think we feel a little bit stuck on exactly what we want to do with the information or what we're allowed to do. We sort of don't have a lot of power nor wiggle room to get things done if somebody makes a specific complaint. You want to say anything else, Eli? Or
I think, the main thing that I feel stuck on is like how to take this information and put it into like a presentable, make a presentable summary of it.
Yeah, there was somebody on the Facebook page. I did ask, I know Stan wrote to me, and it's a question we kind of always have, is like how can we get to know like the people in town that have disabilities? And obviously our survey was anonymous, so we don't know who answered, who has struggles, and I did talk to the mayor about having a table at different events, and she said that we could do that. Like she wants to do that with various different groups in the future. So that would require people that are disabled coming over to our table and saying like, hey, I have this going on with me and it's affecting me in this way. Like I asked people on Facebook, there's not a lot of people that even know we have a Facebook page or have joined it, but I did ask like what would you guys suggest for us to like get to know people in the town and what they need. So I'm just do you have ideas? No? Okay. Because it is hard to help the population if we don't know what's going on with Easthampton's population.
Have we thought about just publishing a series of talking points about the results of the survey on the Facebook page and just
We did.
seeing we did and what happens when people chime in?
Because people don't chime in because the page is new.
Because the people don't.
And there's only like so many. Just like the survey was only 67 people. Although you said that was a lot.
That's a lot.
You said that's a lot.
That is a lot. That's good. You should be proud of that.
So
How often do we go to other Easthampton pages, other disability related pages locally, and just tag our page in it and be like, this is our survey, can be, we can tag our page with anything, but like, I think that would be.
put it on somebody else's.
Put
Say
it
one
on,
more time.
the Easthampton group page, or
Oh, it's there.
cross post and tag, and
Yeah.
do we do that with like every post? It's just, we want a critical mass of people that will self-promote the.
We have to publicize it more.
Yeah.
So
What is
I do publicize it, but there's
I
like
know
a
you do. I've
there's like
seen
a
it.
limit.
I know
I don't
you've
want to
seen it.
infringe.
What
Yeah.
is it under? What is the actual name of it to put in the minutes?
East
I can look
Hampton
it up.
Council on Disability.
No,
correct?
commission.
Commission.
Commission. Yeah. It is hooked to my Facebook account,
Yeah.
and it needs to get hooked to a city account because there are rules and regulations about what can be posted. I was sort of asking, because I don't want to break any rules by like wording something a certain way, or Commission on Disability, City of Easthampton, Mass. 01027.
Yeah.
That's what I would. But again, that only relies on people that have computers that are on Facebook, and if they happen to come across.
That's
Us.
it, yeah, we have to advertise it more.
I mean, we have to advertise us more, which is what I talked to the mayor about. So that's one of those things that is time consuming. We're gonna have to have volunteers want to sit at different places, like hopefully Cultural Chaos and.
That I've been to those.
Yeah.
And they're crazy.
That's why they call it chaos, right?
That's
It's
where I saw it.
chaotic.
I saw Jeff one year.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh,
What were you doing, Jeff? Getting down?
Was it,
Ah!
was it the really rainy year? Or was it
No,
another
it
year?
was sunny.
Oh, sunny year, okay. Forget what I was doing in sunny year.
The one that used to work at the senior center, he works with us now.
Brendan.
Brendan, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He's a good guy. Yeah, so in the future, so if you guys have ideas, please tell me. Please write to me about how we could get to know the population other than running a table at an event and hoping that people come to us. That's sort of where we're at. We're hoping they see us on Facebook. I mean, but also when they come to us, unfortunately, a lot of times we can't help them with what they need help with. So it's like a catch-22.
I think all we can hope for is we can, a publicized space, could provide, even if there's a page for people to just mindlessly vent, maybe two people will start talking to one another and start something up. I don't know that, that's ever going to be our
Excuse me.
What's up, Jen?
I want more money. I want more money.
Me too.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
Well, yeah, as far as
You read my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Jenny's waiting for someone to help her get her job back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So mindlessly venting. I wouldn't mind listening to mindless
As long
ventilation.
as long as the as
But I
long
feel bad
as-
because I can't help a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, if people bring up their thing at our forum, they expect us to be able to do something about it, and it's not always going to be about doing something about it. But I think just the mere existence of a place where people can gather and share a common interest can people can use such a space to facilitate things organically.
Right.
The problem is that to kind of have that message as a commission without people getting angry at us for not doing anything.
Well, I think something that, Angelique, you've done a great job of bringing people here to talk about the services that they provide, and I think continuing to try to work towards at least giving the resources. You know, because I think that is the unfortunate reality, is that there are only a few things that the commission itself has the ability to affect, but if you are making the resources available for people and it can be helping to direct people to the things that they need, I think that's one of the things that we should continue to work towards. I know it's been kind of a goal to try to do that. It's tricky because it's hard to send people to somewhere else, and I think even Cynthia kind of said like they're struggling, and that's their entire department's role is to give people services, and so they're sending people that aren't getting responses. So it's a little bit of a systematic problem, but I think building out the resources page, you know, providing the place for people to go to try to get additional things that the commission can't provide. I think that's still a really important goal that we can work towards.
Awesome, thank you.
And I don't know exactly how to do it, but I think that's always been the goal for learning about what other organizations do, and then when you find someone who has an issue, and we can point them to the resources. I mean that is a service that is worthwhile. So.
That was my goal, like try to like train all of us, train of what's out there, since we're so limited.
When we have a guest speaker like from the senior center, do we ever follow up with a post on Facebook? Thank you to blah 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 from the senior center for coming.
So the Facebook group is only like a month old.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yes.
But could it be like?
Yes, behind the scenes, I'm trying to figure out how to like, because the IT person didn't tell, like when I asked, they said yes, it should be hooked to my personal page. Me and Eli were like, I'm like, my page, and then later came with like, oh no, it should be hooked to this. So I'm trying to unhook mine, hook up the city, and then do some shout outs.
I think once you get that figured out, it's unfortunate you're dealing with that, but I think once you get that figured out, I think it would be good, because I think you've had good guests.
Yeah.
And then you can post about them even though the meeting happened 2 months ago or something.
Right, but we can even post upcoming speakers also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So you go ahead.
Big question, so how old is this commission?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've been on it for like 7 years or something.
Okay, so it's been around, okay. So where is there a clearinghouse of information? Is it this place? Is it the senior center? When I got sick and had mobility issues back in November, it was like hit or miss because I was homebound and stuck to the computer. Yeah. So I learned about things, but I learned haphazardly that I could get a lockbox so that next time the ambulance came, they, could get into the house. Like, I didn't know where to call to say, oh my God, I need help. And what are the services available?
So years ago, we did make a really comprehensive thing. It is on the website, but again, like you have to go to the website and like find us, and it's sort of silly. I can pull it out and look at it, and we can hopefully update it, because it's been quite a few years.
But I think there is no clearinghouse.
There is,
There is no, even
There's no place that has a list of, like even if you can't do it, you could say, well, you would just call the police department and then they would come, and that's what happened. I called and they came and they put one in. And the same thing when I needed a shower chair. The Hampshire County, somebody, 7 o'clock in the morning, dropped off a shower chair on my front door.
Yeah.
It was like all so, haphazard, and and only because it showed up.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to call to get information on who to call, so to speak.
Right.
I think you're hired. You should be on the commission. I think it sounds like a project. So I have a role here in town. It's the city planner, and I do a lot of different things. But I think it has come up for at least the 5 years I've been here too. Is the city's website is not clear, and there's so much information available, but it's hard for people to find the right place to go to get all the information that's there. It's a struggle about how does Easthampton, the city, communicate with all its people, and how do people find stuff. No matter what your interest is or what topic you're kind of interested in, we've had the same kind of circular discussion about how to solve that problem. There's no easy answer.
But I was saved because there was a case manager at Cooley Dick who made a phone call to the elder services, and so Meals on Wheels showed up, DNA showed up. But it's like if I was on my own, which I have a friend doing, she's got to just know all this exists and then go to each agency because there's no place to go where if you're suddenly disabled and alone, here's all the places you can call and what they can do. There's no central location of.
Have you ever, and I know I used to refer a lot of our clients to it, United Way 211. It's that if you call United Way for help, 211. They're very good. They're a wealth of information, and they can kind of pinpoint, well, I need, where would I, and they can give you advice.
I did wind up calling the senior center, and then they told me about that they could get me to doctor's visits, but I wound up working that out. And then there was something else they helped me with. They told me at least what they could do and where to go and all of that. But it was just, it was scary. It was scary because it's like I know how to run the computer and Facebook, and I know how to do stuff online, and I'm thinking, there's a whole lot of people I know my age that don't know how to do that.
Right.
And they don't know how, they're not on Facebook, and I think, I don't have security on my computer, I'm afraid to use it, and and it's like, what happens to them?
That's very true.
Yeah, and it's like, the whole structure is so complicated and so, I guess, spotty, right? That it would even be hard to, even if you had the time to put it all together, it would be very hard to make it make something concise and clear, right? Because it would be there's these people that kind of that do this, but they don't that they don't do this, but maybe then there are these people that it would be very, I don't know, it'd be very hard to even explain who does what, right?
The resources are there. I found everything I needed, but oh my goodness, it was.
Yeah, our resource guide is hidden, and it hasn't been updated in a long time.
It was like the Easthampton neighbors. How come I didn't know about that until it showed up on Facebook? It was in a comment. It was because I read comments and someone mentioned it in comments. Someone was looking for a CNA or something and somebody commented on it and I followed the links and followed to the
down
website.
the rabbit hole.
But I know people who can't do that.
It's very true.
So anyway, I'll shut up.
No shutting up.
Because you're not alone in trying to navigate all of it.
It is. It's a lot. I mean, there's some projects that sometimes I feel like I'd like to do, but a lot of us on the commission have disabilities ourselves or jobs. It takes a lot of energy.
In the week I found out when I was little.
Yep.
That I had cerebral palsy.
You did. How old were you?
I was in my mom. I was even not born yet.
Not born yet?
And they found out that I had diaphragm hernia and cerebral palsy.
Okay.
Did they diagnose it pre-birth? Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I thought I thought you had to have oxygen, breathe oxygen to begin. As someone with cerebral palsy, I thought you had to breathe oxygen to begin with to have trouble than that.
Yes, go
That
ahead.
is.
There might be genetic markers
Yeah.
to it.
It's not genetic, it's
Sure.
completely, it's completely whether you can breathe,
Breathe or not.
essentially.
Rebecca.
And
I want to work with Rebecca.
Becca sounds nice.
Rebecca is, yeah,
Yes.
way better than.
the, I'm grown now and I'm going
Good.
She's better
You in
than
your
you.
20s?
I'll be 25 in October.
Look at that. Getting old. I got your pin though.
I started going to Riverside when I was 19, 20.
You're a veteran over there then.
I know everybody around here. Lindsay, I know Lindsay because her mom was my teacher at
Oh,
Brian
Lindsay
Road.
Rothschild.
and
Yeah.
I know all the fire guys.
Should call you first.
One of them lived on the second floor of my apartment that we live in now. So everybody knows me down there.
Good. I'm gonna put you to work at one of the tables because you know everybody, so you're gonna spread the word.
Bryce, you would be great at one of
That's
these.
exactly what I'm gonna do. Marty,
Maybe you and I can do one sometime.
before we close, because we're getting towards the end, do you have anything you want to chat about?
No, I don't.
You sure?
Well,
No, I'm just providing a space because you came in
Thank you for
late.
the offer. I don't think I do this moment, but nice that you asked.
Of course. Jeff Bag, anything?
I have one new, so under new business.
Yes.
So, the city is going to be opening a new trail on East Street that there was a good Gazette article recently on it, but it's designed, and we're trying to be careful because we're trying to set the correct expectations. So it's not designed to meet ADA requirements, but there is another standard that is the National Park Service, which is the next level up for getting people with various mobility impairments out into nature. So what I've been trying to figure out is our timeline for the trail. We were looking at doing a formal, like a bigger ribbon cutting event sometime after the 4th of July.
Okay.
But we hit a place in the construction where we're like almost done. So there's sort of minor things that are going to be getting finished up. It's too busy most of the month of May. But what I was thinking is because I was just looking, so the next meeting is June 7th.
Yeah.
If the commission was interested, maybe we can try to coordinate a time to get the commission members out there.
Field trip.
The parking lot will be paved at that point, although it won't be officially open yet, but it'll be an opportunity to get the commission there to see it before it's publicly opened. And so I've been trying to coordinate some things. There was a woman who reached out to me from Northampton who is a advocate for these sort of unpaved trails for people with various mobility issues, and she's in a motorized wheelchair, and I'm gonna be bringing her out to the site sometime next week. And we talked it through, and it's under construction, and she's aware of that, but she wants to see it, and she is very excited about the trail and what it'll offer for all kinds of people, just a range of different age groups and mobility, and people with different mobility capabilities. So I am also bringing the executive director of Riverside out there, and then I think after I have those two folks out there, I would love to get the commission out there so that you all can see kind of the trail and the effort and the goal of it, and then obviously it comes to the ribbon cutting in July.
Yeah,
so
if there's a Riverside group going, we'll definitely try.
yeah, I think I wanted to get Lynn is the new director over there. I want to make sure that there's some people that I want to make sure
Yes.
think that the trail is really well designed and suitable, and then I want to start bringing people there, and then we want to showcase it as something that that Easthampton has done, and it complements the work that Marty and Piscoma Conservation Trust has done on the other trail on East Street. So maybe for the June meeting, I'll have an update, and then because we can email about scheduling. My long-winded introduction, I think now we can email about trying to find a date that might work to get people out there for a site visit. So
Why isn't it
That'd be
ADA?
great.
It didn't have to be, or
no, so when you're building a trail, you're not required to meet ADA. You're not even required to meet these National Park Service standards, but we're trying to achieve that so that and it's basically there's a certain maximum steepness that's allowed. I think people who are in a manual chair, it could be strenuous, but the 8% is designed for most motorized pieces of equipment to get up there comfortably. So we're going to do a little testing of that and then make sure that we've met the design and kind of start to set those expectations for people to go out there. And for someone who's able-bodied too, it's going to be a loop trail, and then it'll also access Mount Tom, so it's a secondary trailhead for all that. But the goal was to bring people to this unique place that is on top of a mountain, and so the trail advocate that I've been talking to is just very excited that we're opening up a trail that's unique, and with all due respect, it's just not just a flat area or it's not paved, because those are a little bit easier to achieve, and this one's the next level up for an experience. So
do you also have an update on the signs? I forgot what
Question
they're called.
mark.
there's signs on the trail. They're interpretive signs. We are going to need to work on a longer term goal to make those open and available to a wider range of people.
Okay.
We weren't able to do, I think, Kelsey.
Yeah,
Right?
Kelsey,
There was conversations about, so we are going to have 5 interpretive signs on the trail, and I think once we're established, I think there is a goal to pursue additional funds to make those readable to people with different, with other different disabilities, so that there could be other opportunities for people to see them.
What are interpretive signs?
So an interpretive sign, there's going to be, I have not gotten them yet. We're seeing what the content is, but there's going to be one on habitat. So one of the characteristics of the site is that it'll be, habitat for birds, and there's a certain, goal that you're trying to achieve with that. The other is going to be the geography of Mount Tom. So, the glaciers left many years ago and left the mountain there, and so there's a couple other topics.
Signs that kind of explain something, like it's an exhibit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I'll just follow up because we've been doing some sprucing up at Muddy's Field. Painted all the picnic tables and the benches. We're doing some planting in the planters, and we're in the process of putting a sign on East Street. Even though we have a lot of signage at the trail entrance, there isn't a prominent sign right on East Street saying accessible trail. So we're going to put up a sign that is much more visible right there.
I think that's great, and it complements, they're supposed to complement each other, and I think the trail that Pascomic built is actually accessible to ADA standards, which we were not able to achieve, but we did achieve that next level up, the National Park Service one. Maybe there's an opportunity to, it might be a lot, but it might be an opportunity to do 2 visits that day, depending on how much time people have. But if you haven't been to the Mudder's Field Trail, it's currently open and available for everybody.
And maybe someday we can let people know at each trail that, hey, there's another one
Yes.
down the street.
I think that would be excellent.
Thank you. That's awesome. Is there more though?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
So
Meeting.
When are
Mini. I like.
Yeah.
you
Good.
want to come back? to
you
the
like this
next
meeting?
Yeah.
Aww.
Okay, we'll try. It's once a month, Jen.
Awesome.
We'll try to get you into either the next one or the one after that. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so I just want to go over, before we close, if there's stuff that we're supposed to do. I am going to check on.
Go. What with? You. I want go with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on the what is it called? Resource guide to see where it went, and if it's collecting dust, like what needs to be added to it. Were there other things that we're supposed to be doing, or did I just tell you a bunch of stuff? I feel
Also,
like I
it might,
told
like,
you.
there might be stuff in it that's out of date too.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
Should we, on that resource guide, once it's reviewed and updated, possibly print it and hand it out if we're gonna have tables at places?
It's like 20 pages long, so I don't know that we have money or whatever to do that, the ability.
There might be something in the middle, which is to take the guide and get copies made, print it as it currently stands. Because I think updating it will be one of these things that takes some time. But the other just the thought is using the website itself, the web page.
Yeah.
Is if we can find the web page that we want to direct people to, then we can just provide the link.
Right.
With a quick explanation of what it would provide to them.
Right.
That might be one other way to approach it, because it'll be easier to manage than coming up with a printed guide that will go out of date pretty quick. But the other thing I think you said was working on the social media, so that you're working with IT here, and then looking back at some of the previous guests that you were great at getting here, just promoting those that they have.
Promoting those, yes.
Did you make one of them?
Yes.
Help me go on a future when I graduated school.
You're lucky. I need help.
No, the one that is from the school.
Oh yes, I remember you knew that person.
It's Bryce and Jen. We actually have to get back. I didn't realize. Yeah.
Meeting's closing up.
Yeah.
Anything else before we go?
I won't go.
All right.
We'll come back.
The next meeting, as my helper here said, Jeff, is the 7th, June 7th, right? 10 a.m., same place. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second it? And we're all okay with going?
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to shut this recording off.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.